Yes.
Okay, so welcome to my talk about theory of constraints for dummies. I'm Lukáš Křečan, and I'm working as a Kotlin developer at Stargate since this spring. And I want to ask you, please participate. I will ask some questions throughout the presentation, so don't be afraid to just give answers, ideas, whatnot. There's no wrong answers here, so please participate. And before we will talk about theory of constraints, we have to talk about knedlo, vepřo, zelo, which is famous Czech food, and it consists from three parts. We have knedlo, which is dumplings, knedlíky, vepřo, vepřova, which is pork, and zelo, zelí, it's cabbage. And let's imagine we have decided to open a fast food restaurant with knedlo, vepřo, zelo in Karlín. And yeah, it's not a great idea in these times, but let's say we decided to do that. And we decided to sell it to hipsters for a big amount of money and get rich by selling knedlo, vepřo, zelo. And since I don't know anything about cooking, we have like three assembly line here. In fact, we have like dumplings line, which takes highest quality organic flour, and the guy here makes dumplings and the guy here cooks them and cuts them. Then we have pork line, the lady here roasted the pork and the lady here like cuts it. And we are really proud on our cabbage line. We take highest quality organic cabbage. And this guy here, the cabbage slicer, we flew him from Japan. He spent like 10 years in monastery learning how to slice cabbage. And it's really great. We are paying him a lot of money, but yeah, it's worth it. And the guy here boils it. The guy puts it on plates, and we sell it to hipsters for a lot of money. So first question is, what's the objective of this organization? Any ideas? Unmute your mics and answer, please.
Sell it to the hipsters.
Yeah, but what do you want?
I mean, like assemble knedlo, zelo, vepře and sell it, right? That's the goal.
We want money, yeah.
Yeah, we want money from the hipsters, obviously, yes.
Yeah, and a more trickier question: what's this objective of the like cabbage slicer guy? Imagine that we want to give him like Q4 objective or KPI or OKR or whatnot. What would that be?
Amount of the cabbage.
Yeah, make as much cabbage as possible. Any other ideas?
Maybe something about quality, but I don't know how to measure it.
Quality and a lot of it and so on. Okay, cool. So yeah, we talked about it. And now let's introduce a constraint. As you can see, I have erased dumplings from the plates. So the plates are waiting for dumplings. And we have like pile of cabbage here, pile of pork here, and yeah, huge pile of dumplings over there, but no dumplings here. So what's wrong here in this picture? Any idea? What's the constraint? What's the bottleneck? Simple. Don't be afraid.
Boiling of the dumplings.
Yeah, something wrong here. Yeah, this is the constraint. And the trick is there always is the slowest part somewhere in the organization. Someone has to be the slowest one. But what is interesting is this guy here, the cabbage slicer, because he's having like great time. He's slicing cabbage. He has great input, and even figure out how to like increase his output. So he's slicing even faster. But what he doesn't see is that he's producing huge amount of waste here, because the cabbage here is waiting for dumplings, and yeah, it's rotting and cooling down, stuff like that, which you don't want. So basically, by doing his job and like filling his quota and OKRs, he's harming the company. And this is the important thing about area of constraints. By doing your job, if you are not the constraint and you are working like 100% and really hard, you may be harming the company. So what is he supposed to do?
Retrain to boil dumplings.
Sorry?
Retrain to boil dumplings.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the ideas. Yeah, we move him here and like tell him, hey, let's help with the dumplings, which is good answer. It's the right answer, but he spent 10 years in monastery learning how to, slice cabbage, and now you want him to like work on dumplings? He haven't ever seen dumpling in his life. So yeah, it's correct.
You should somehow synchronize, right?
Do it slowly. You know, you are too fast. Like, chill
I
out.
am too fast. Sorry, I will slow down. So, okay.
You know, like half day work and rest of it like just chilling.
Yeah, slow down. Yeah. Yeah, we tell him slow down, which is again strange because we pay him a lot of money and like telling him, yeah, take it easy, guy. Yeah, but it's again the right answer. Any other ideas?
We can sell cabbage to other competitors.
Yeah, that's another possibility. Let's figure out some way how to like make use of cabbage.
We need another line for dumplings.
Yeah, definitely fixing the constraint or removing it is a great idea. We will introduce another one somewhere else.
Yeah, but then someone else will become the slowest, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of kind of solutions, which a lot of them are like, doesn't make sense at the first point of view. So, and this is theory of constraint. Basically, it says there is always a constraint. There's always something slow or the slowest part. And the important thing is that this constraint determines the throughput of the organization, which is good news, because if you want to increase the throughput of the organization, you have to focus on the constraint. You don't care about the rest of the company, you just focus on the constraint if you know what it is. And the third point is the rest of the organization has to somehow accommodate, slow down or help or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty important to know what the constraint is. So how did we figure out what the constraint is in this image? What's the signal?
That we lacked something.
Yeah, we are lacking something, and there's another like signal.
We are doing too much.
Dumplings.
Yeah. I heard Michael. Yeah, there's too many dumplings waiting for. Yeah, so it's basically two things. We are missing dumplings here, and there's too many dumplings over there. And yeah, there are piles of another like material in the factory or in the system, but this one is like important. So if we go to IT, what is our material? If I go to product board and I want to see piles of something, what I'm looking for?
PRs maybe.
PRs, yeah.
Maybe solved tickets or something.
Tickets, yeah. Basically, yeah, code and tickets. That's our dumplings and cabbage and stuff.
And pipeline.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So this is a picture from my previous job, and we created like physical Scrum board, which is the best Scrum board you can have. And yeah, we have this huge pile of tickets waiting for QA. And imagine you are a developer here, and you are like increase your output. You are just producing waste, just piling code here, and it's not going to get to the customer. So it's basically, yeah, it's waste. By the way, you can even see where your constraint is by looking at the board. And if you see ready for QA or waiting for review or waiting for dumplings, it's kind of a hint where your constraint might be. Okay, more recent picture. What's interesting in this picture?
Number of pull requests.
Yeah, we have more than 100 open pull requests. A lot of them are like, old and stale, like rotting code or cabbage or what. So yeah, this is kind of a hint that something maybe is wrong. At least we should clean it up, take the old cabbage and throw it away. And another example, less obvious, this is Stargate Scrum board. And if you zoom Jira Scrum board like this, you can even use it for looking for constraints. We have like 6 engineers, and we have 12 tickets in progress. Like, why? Do we want like do context switching a lot or what? No, there's some constraint that is forcing us to do that. So yeah, this is another like example what you can see in our like factory. And if you want to look for heaps of material, you can look for that. So what to do about that? Well, one thing is like fix it, but it's kind of hard because in programming, constraint often moves from one part to another. Sometimes it doesn't. For example, in the QA example, there's only one QA guy, and so he was always the constraint. But if you want to like fix it, a great trick is limit working progress. So these are slides from Henrik Nyberg from Kanban. And basically you can say, okay, in develop, we can have only 2 tickets. In deploy, we can have only 1. And the guys here are working on the tickets. They have A and B. And well, one interesting thing is they have limit 2, but it's like 4 guys working on it. So they are forced to cooperate. This is one like advantage of it. But let's ignore this for a moment. And they are working and they like finish A. These start deploying it. So they take C. And yeah, those guys here finish B. And now they hit the limit. They have 2 tickets here. And they cannot take another one. So they are forced to go looking around the company and looking for the constraint and saying, okay, we cannot take another one here. So we have to go help them. And those finish another ticket. So, and again, they are forced to go help. So basically they like stop the line. In Toyota system, they call it stop the line. Everyone can stop the assembly line if they see a quality issue or something like that, which sounds expensive, but it's like removes those constraints and those kinks. So it's in the long term, it's helpful. So basically at the end, everyone ends up here and they are helping with deployment. And once it's finished or fixed, they can go continue working. And this like sounds easy in theory, but limiting working progress is really hard because it forces us to do something we don't want to do. It forces us to like go helping with deployment or go fixing pipeline. And you know, I spent 10 years in monastery learning Java, and I don't want to write those shell scripts. So yeah, it's really hard. So usually it ends up, okay, we have limits of working or progress, but I will take the programming task and will not move it in Jira or something like that. So yeah, it sounds easy, but it's really hard. So this theory of constraint comes from the book The Goal from Elihu Goldratt. And it's a great book. It's easy to read. It's written like a novel. So yeah, even I am able to finish it. So I recommend to read it. You see 6 million copies sold. So yeah, something good in there. And to reiterate, remember that you can harm the company just by doing your job. If you are not the constraint and you are working really, really hard, you may be producing waste. It's good to know what your constraint is. And if you want to try to fix it, a great idea is to limit working progress. And yeah, that's it from me. Any questions?